am using an articulation app for language targets, and it's not my like go-to and my perfect language solution, but when we have mixed groups, when we have students working on multiple goals, when things just are crazy, then we have to do what we can. And sometimes thinking creatively and using what we have is a really good solution, and this is a surprisingly good one. So I have 7 goals that I like to target, and I'll try to go through them pretty quickly. But first, so this is, sorry, I get confused. So this is Articulation Station by Little B Speech, and it is a top-notch articulation app. I use it, it's my go-to, I use it all the time. Sorry about the animals. And so I just wanted to share some of the ways that I use that. So first, some categories. So this one is easy. I either have students identify which category an item is in, and we'll use a set of visuals to work on that goal. So for example, we'll look at the P sound and go through words and use the flashcards. And we'll pick what position. And this is especially great if we have a student just working on that vocabulary goal. If his friend is working on the articulation piece, we can use the same set of cards, or they can have different sets of cards because you can set up groups here too. And it's a really great way for the articulation student to get a model with other students, and it is also great for those students who have multiple goals, because then you can use the targets to target language pieces as well. So we would go through and talk about what group the pickles are in, what group is a pencil in. And these are, as you can see, the images are absolutely beautiful and a great target for that. And then because the images are so great, you can also use them for describing. So you can just use the expanding expression tool, for example, to describe the pictures. So you can talk about the category, which is the green group for expanding expression, but you can also talk about what you use it for, the object function, what it looks like, and all of those great things, and it works really well with this app. And then you can also do compare and contrast, and I really like to use the matching game to compare and contrast. So we'll pick just one sound, and then we'll pick the 2 cards, and then they have to talk about how they're the same and different. And of course, some of these can be a little bit challenging, but if we have some good visuals that we're using, that's another great way to target those pieces. And I am not sure how to view the comments. I'm using something a little bit different, so I'm sorry if I'm missing you. I will look back and I'll see if I can pull it up on here. I'm sorry if I'm missing any comments. And then, sorry, just backtracking a second. So those were 3 ways that I can use this. So for naming the category, describing, and then also comparing and contrasting. And then so I've been using Articulation Station for a few years, but I was inspired to share this because Heidi from Little B Speech shared some hacks for this app. So I thought it would be fun to do a mini extension of that because I just think this app is amazing. You should watch her video on SFP Summit if you want to see all the ways to use it for articulation. Okay, and then the next piece is goal number 4 is using this for following directions and basic concepts. So you can use this matching game for the same type of thing. So you can have students give each other directions, or you can give directions as to what cards they need to turn over. So this is a great way to work on those basic concepts like top, bottom, middle, under, next to, and all of those pieces. And then also you can incorporate some of those temporal concepts and multi-step directions before you touch this one, touch that one. And then I don't have enough time to go into all the visuals. I was hoping to share all of those pieces too. But then again, supporting with visuals to make it a little bit more attainable for some of our students who struggle with this. And then the same thing for grammar. So you can go through and find some of the language targets or you can find some verbs or nouns. You can go through and make your own list, and I have a blog post that I'll share that includes some ideas on how to, there's a tutorial from Little Bee Speech that tells you how to set up those pieces and make custom lists. So you could make a list of all of the animals if you're working on those categories, or you can make a list of all the nouns and all the verbs, and they don't have as many adjectives or adverbs. I haven't used it as much for that, but you can definitely generate your own adverbs and adjectives to describe the different items. So we will go through, if we're working on irregular past tense verbs, we'll pick a couple of verbs that some of these, that might apply to some of these people and objects and things, and use a sentence strip to kind of get some repetition with that task. And then you could also use it for irregular nouns. And talking, like if you pick a bunch of people, you could talk about their feet and kind of get creative with that. And then another cool piece is to use it for comprehension. So let's get some S's there. And then you have all of these different levels, so you can do sentence level if you'd like. But I am especially impressed by this, these passages. So you can have these, and this is great visual support for our students. So for our students struggling with comprehension, and if we want to get them to start visualizing, this is amazing. Like, they need to make more of this in a language app. But it really helps get them to start making those pictures in their head about what they're reading, which is a great comprehension strategy. But then they can read through this, and they'll have those built-in supports. And then there's questions with options too. So again, more supports built into the app. And they also have a level 2 that is a little bit more complex, and then you can just have them read this and then answer the questions too. And again, this is helpful for those mixed groups, because if one person is working on those comprehension skills and the other student is working on S, then the articulation student gets that auditory bombardment piece going on. So lots of awesome functions there. And then the last one. So I have 7 ideas, but please share if you have any other ideas on how to do this. And I will share my blog post so you have an easy reference to these ideas as well. So fluency and stuttering, not necessarily language, but a lot of times when we are targeting those fluency goals, we'll have students start using their strategies in words and phrases and sentences, and guess what we do with articulation? So as you saw before, this app goes from words to phrases to sentences to stories. So it's a really great way to target those skills, and it's pretty awesome. So I am going to see, so those were my 7 goal ideas. So starting with describing, starting with categories, then describing. And you could also just do object functions as well. Describing is kind of the same, and then compare and contrast, following directions with those basic concepts, grammar, if you have some of those sentence strips, and then comprehension and fluency or stuttering. So that is pretty amazing for an articulation app, with all of these ways to use it. So let me just take a second and see if this is working. Okay, so there are some comments, it looks like. Oops. Okay, awesome. So I think that is all for now, but I will look back at the comments just to make sure I didn't miss anything, but please do share your ideas, and I will see you next week.